Yo, what's going on YouTube? You give me a whole bunch of settings and whatnot. Anyway, I wanted to go live. Um, you know, been staying away from my channel and the camera for quite some time on my channel particularly, so forgive me. It's not personal. Before I get started, if you're in here, if you're viewing the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. If I'm worthy of your subscription, definitely appreciate it. But the YouTube algorithm works best if you go ahead and hit the like button. But I was having a thought, and I'm up at these hours on most days doing a variation of things, continuing to expand myself, my brand, whichever. And I was thinking about this topic particularly, uh, you know, uh, marriage, relationships, which is what my channel is all about, as you guys already know. And it's just the state of affairs is interesting. Now, what motivated me to start this channel, I think going on 3 years now, was the fact that I was introduced to the relationship space on YouTube by a woman I was briefly dating. She brought up this dude named Derek Jackson. And I viewed this content and I was disgusted. I viewed what he was saying and I was disturbed. And I just knew that myself could do a better job as far as keeping it real. I don't pander. I don't do any of the kissing of, ass or anything like that. I think that that's just not necessary as men. And I don't recommend you guys do it as well. But and through my journey, I've done a number of videos on topics like dating single moms, men's development, whichever, however. And as this year is approaching, I want to do more content that's relative to sharing more of my, myself and how I got to this point, my own development, things that I've implemented in my life that work well, things that I believe, you can consider and take into account. But that's what got it started. This particular topic, however, myself valuing relationships, thinking relationships are still a pillar of our society, was under the spell of, marriage and what it is or what it was supposed to be intended for, like I'm sure a lot of guys were. Now, the title is more salacious, and I'm going to go ahead and get into why I named it Why Men Should Marry in 2024 or Beyond. Y'all can do what you want. This is an opinion-based, perspective that I'm giving, but you can do what you want. I think that men need to really, really consider what marriage is now more than ever. We're living in a time where everything is being challenged. We're living in a time where our social norms and what we deem to be valuable, what we deem to be, integral, what we deem to be priority, is being challenged. And the one weakness that I believe all men have in common is women. Now, women in themselves are not dangerous. Women by themselves are not to be feared, in my honest opinion. But what tends to be the issue is that you got a lot of men doing things for reasons they don't even know why they're doing it. That is dangerous. Relationships in themselves are not dangerous. Participating in getting to know, courting, dating, getting to know women is also not dangerous, in my opinion. But if you are a man that is making choices, and you don't know why you're making these choices, if you're following an institution or a tradition because of the mere fact that you assume that this is going to make you be more honorable, terms like make an honest woman out of her was something that I heard said, mid-century or whichever, I'm not that old, but I'm also not that young. But I know that that was something that drove a lot of people's decisions, a lot of men's decisions. And some of those men that followed that mantra are suffering for it today. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and say that the institution of marriage is the problem, because I don't believe that. I think marriage, if done correctly, is a beautiful thing. I honestly believe that it is one of the biggest investments you'll probably ever make, one of the most important decisions you'll probably ever make. But this is the issue. You got a lot of men, or a lot of males, males posing as men, who have no idea why they want what they want, who have no idea why they want to do this thing called marriage, lifetime commitment. And I want to touch on one particular thing that I believe is not being talked about in this space, and is probably the main issue. And that is the fact that a man needs to understand one fact, one major fact on what marriage really is. Marriage, gentlemen, for those who are listening, for those who are subscribed, hear me, feel me. Marriage is responsibility. When a man decides that he wants to marry a woman, he is not asking for a life partner. He is not asking for in-house booty. He is not asking for romance. Those are amenities of the decision. What this man is asking for is responsibility. What he is asking for is he is asking not only that woman, but her family, and then potentially future family. Not only her current family, but her friends. Not only her friends, but her colleagues. Not only her colleagues, but her associates. And he's actually asking even the government to trust him in his ability to make conscious, mature, sound decisions more often than not. He is asking for that woman and all those people I listed to entrust him in his ability to perform at his peak level. This includes things like leadership. This includes things like financial contribution. This includes things like guidance. This includes things like nurturing an environment of spirituality, culture, duty, decorum. Because the thing that I still have not quite heard, and maybe I just haven't come across it, maybe it does exist, I just haven't heard it. And I've been on YouTube for going on 3 years and been all in and through this space of relationships. That marriage is not being discussed and presented in a way that I'm trying to present it, that it is a man asking to be responsible. Now, herein lies the problem. If you are a man currently and you are void of structure, discipline, foresight, vision, determination, faith, work ethic, maturity, and a series of other things that you need in order to just be your man, just be yourself by yourself, and not necessarily be bogged down with a family or support a family, my brother, you are not ready for marriage. Some may hear my sound of my voice and argue, well, how can you, Daniel, being who you are, not knowing me, not knowing what I'm capable of, say that I am not ready for marriage? I am glad you asked. I can say that because so many men that I've talked to in real life, hundreds at this point, maybe even thousands, as well as so many women that I have to talk to at this point, hundreds, if not maybe thousands. When I ask what drove you to get married, but when I ask what is the reason why you two are together, and I also, to couple that, say, if it wasn't love, what was it? Because that's the go-to, that's the default response. Oh, we loved each other. That's cute, that's great. Love's awesome, right? But we all know, and I know you've heard it, I may have more than likely even said it at one point, love is not enough. Marriage, gentlemen, ladies, if you're listening, because you guys can benefit from what I'm saying too, in my opinion. A man desiring to be married is a man that is begging to be responsible. It is the highest level of trust, in my opinion, that you can ask of a woman. Why? Because she ultimately has to operate in a state of faith and belief in your abilities. She has to trust that you are going to make sound, conscious choices. She has to trust that you are going to be able to put yourself in a position, put the family in a position, and your future offspring in a position to thrive. She is entrusting that you are going to always consider the family in the future. Brothers, if you do not see marriage in this capacity, in this particular, point of view, I would argue you're not ready. And I would argue that you more than likely don't need to try to ruin your life and someone else's life by tying them to you and you tying yourself to them when you're not ready. The reason why I believe a lot of relationships are not working nowadays, relationships, we're not even talking about marriage, but the topic is marriage. Why marriage is not working today is because there's so many people that do not know what the heck it's for. Marriage, if you look at it from a spiritual lens, is a bond. It is a covenant. It was created with the understanding of procreation. It was created with the understanding of expansion. It was created with the understanding that it is a institution that is designed to build a society around. And we pretty much have been doing it this way since the beginning of time. Now, it is also something that I don't believe is ever really truly going to go away, because it is the only human institution that matters. Let me explain. In the animal kingdom, procreation exists. In the animal kingdom, they are producing of themselves, they have offspring. But in the animal kingdom, there is no such thing as marriage. There is no conscious decision of partnership through the mammal to mammal. Their life is completely different than ours. And you guys understand this. And I know somebody smart in the chat is going to say something about the penguins and lifetime partners and, whichever. If you feel the need to be right that much, then that's your problem. But the point is that this is a human-like decision. To stay on topic, though, responsibility is a powerful word, but it's a collaborative word, because it means accountability, it means discipline, it means conscious thinking, it means good choices. It's an all-encompassing word. Marriage is not about just safety, just children, just family. Marriage is not about pictures. Marriage is not about weddings. Marriage is not about just status. It's all those things encompassing. But with all of that stuff said, all of those things factored in, marriage in itself, especially for 2020, 2024 and moving forward, since we're at the latter part of 2023, transitioning into a new year, marriage is a responsibility. And there are so many people, but in this case, men, nowadays, that I do not believe are in a position mentally, that are in a position emotionally, that are in a position physically, that are in a position financially to sustain and propel a relationship of this magnitude. Let's be clear, gentlemen. Part of the problem is the media and the social expectation of what marriage is supposed to be. I was talking to my dad earlier today, and we were discussing, weddings, just randomly discussing weddings, and we were saying that people that spend 50,000, 80,000 on a wedding is just nuts. Doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. If you're gonna do something like marriage, why the heck would you complicate your financial world by providing yourself a day party with an extended amount of money at that level? It just doesn't make any sense, my honest opinion, as well as his. And why I mention this is because the media has a real good hold on the programming and how people's belief systems are cultivated and structured. The reason why men think they have to do all of this stuff is because it's the propaganda behind what is being told, what is being perpetuated, what is being conveyed, what is being delivered and packaged, and all of these things. And what more men need to do is to really start to define what happiness looks like for them, start to define what life looks like for them, and start challenging social norms. I don't believe there is enough men currently with the mental fortitude to provide a steady being of self, because, again, gentlemen, let's be clear. You cannot give what you don't have. If you are not a disciplined man, if you are not a man who works hard, if you're not a man that knows how to convey his thoughts or his plan or his outlook or his perspective correctly, if you're not a man that knows how to, have conflict resolution, if you're not a man that knows how to problem solve, my brother, you are not ready for marriage. What marriage is designed to do, so that you guys can hopefully understand this, the moment you decide to ask for this responsibility, you are now putting yourself in a position of review. Let me explain. The commitment you extend and bestow to this young lady and to her family is putting yourself in a position to be reviewed, putting yourself in a position to be critiqued, putting yourself in a position to be challenged. And that is what it is. It is putting yourself in a pressure cooker, which we're designed for pressure. Any man listening to the sound of my voice will understand that we're designed for this. We're designed for pressure. It's the life we live. That's the plight of a man. I'm all for it. But there's so many men that are not currently. There's so many men who are suffering from depression. There's so many men that are suffering from anxiety. There's so many men that are suffering from identity crisis. There's so many men that right now have no clue who the heck they are. Not the job you do, not the clothes you wear, not the car you drive, not the zip code you live in. Who you are here mentally, who you are here spiritually. Most men don't have a clue. So they identify with things that are activities. They identify with things like, favorite colors, zodiac signs, things of that nature, which some of that stuff is not wrong, but until you really get on your identifier of who you are first, you don't need to be thinking about marriage. You don't need to even be thinking about relationships. You shouldn't even be occupying yourself with women in your space, because, gentlemen, if you don't know this, and this is coming from a man that does really, really well with women, women are designed to bring out of you what you don't want to deal with. A relationship, especially a relationship of marriage, is nothing but a magnifier of what either is in you or isn't in you. And this can happen in a relationship, but marriage specifically is designed to put you under a crucible of sorts, and test what you're made of. Now, what I think has happened is that before, and this is theoretical, so bear with me, roll with me. I'm live. I don't write anything down. A lot of times I just come off my head and the things that I believe I know, whichever. I believe marriage for so long was heavily supported by the societal standard of the exchange between man and woman. Let me simplify that. In order for a man to participate in sex at one point in time, he needed to marry this woman. So that was one reason. The other reason was asset transfers. The other reason was family collaboration and the transfer of wealth, and so on and so forth. But as we come to this point now, people are not treated in that way. And what has happened before is that societally, men could get away with providing what could have been the maximum of what they provided. I'm not talking about just money. Provisions is more than just money. But what I mean by what they provided is I mean their intellect. What I mean by, on top of that, their time. On top of that, their creativity. On top of that, their ability of leadership. And because society didn't have a vast standard collectively of what this looked like, nor did they have any cell phone, social media, or anything like that to verify or assume what's going on in other people's lives, it created a false sense of the truth. Now, we still live in a time with all the information at our fingertips that we still are fighting to figure out the truth. But my point is that, see, now, gentlemen, you're fighting the social norm of what is a relationship, what is a marriage, and you're doing it in real time. You're doing it with the ability to now have provided to women specifically what it's supposed to look like, their assumption of it. Now, do I think you should buy into the social norms collectively? No. But I think that you need to be, if you're going to be in a fight, you need to be aware of your opponent. One of the things that you'll hear me always reference, because I'm a huge boxing fan, and I appreciate the art more than anything, is that when a fighter goes into a fight, they do their best to prepare for everything that they assume the opposition has, right? Okay. So in a relationship, in a marriage, and it's something of that magnitude, a man needs to understand what he's up against. What he's up against is social pressure. What he's up against is her emotional makeup. What he's up against is the expectations of who he is as the man he presents himself to be. What he's up against is a judicial system that doesn't support you. And what he's up against is fleeting emotions on her end. You going to war. So many men that I have spoken to, so many women that I have been with, and that have spoken to me about men, it is clear that most men in this day and time currently are not in the mental space to provide what's necessary for a lifetime commitment as marriage. So many men are still trying to figure out who the heck they are, who they're going to be, who they're going to create themselves to be in this life. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is a lifetime journey, gentlemen, that you're going to constantly be going through stages of self-development. But with that said, why? Why would you put yourself in a position to have to now be subjugated and put under constant review, daily review, weekly review, monthly review, yearly review, and tether yourself to a woman and her family and society to perform for a lifetime? Why would you do that? Unless you are ready for it. And I'm here to say that I think more men need to really, really start to be honest with themselves. When you really, really count the cost, when you look at something, see, when you're about to buy a home, when you're about to buy a car, when you're going to go on vacation, when you're going to pick an insurance policy, when you're going to do some grown man crap, right? You should sit down and devise a general plan. Some people do it something as simple as the pro and the con list. You take a piece of paper, you put a line down the middle, you do a T, you put pros on one side, cons on the other, and you speculate what you assume the pros are as well as the cons, and then you weigh it. Now, there could be some pros to this marriage thing. There can be some cons to this marriage thing. But you as a man should be wise enough and not foolish enough to walk into this freaking battle blind. And that's what this video is about. It's not to say that don't get married ever. It's not to say that don't do it. I'm saying that you, as the men that you claim yourself to be, have to understand what you were truly asking for. If you think that it's lifetime romance, you're fooling yourself. If you think that it's compliance at the highest level with no bumps on the road, you're fooling yourself. If you think that you're going to be celebrated and praised for doing this and, the heavens are going to part and the doves are going to fly, you're fooling yourself. What you are actually asking for is you're actually asking for the next level of development for yourself. You're asking to be put under the crucible. You're asking to be put under the microscope of society, of family, of cultural background, of spirituality, of that woman, of your future kids. And you're asking for responsibility at the highest level. Don't fool yourself, gentlemen, if you are not that man. And your life as it's lived now should be able to tell you if you are capable of being able to handle something of this magnitude. Can you articulate your thoughts correctly? Are you able to convey to your woman and then your future family instruction, carry it out, devise a plan, carry it out, give, encouragement, support, teachings, wisdom, family values, cultural norms, traditions? Can you do that? Are you that dude? If you are not that dude, you need to stay as far away from this thing called marriage as possible. Because where so many men, I think, are losing is that they are truly not being honest. One thing about, living this life as a man is that the quicker you realize who you are and who you aren't, it makes life a lot easier. The quicker you realize that, you know what, I'm never going to be LeBron James. I'm probably never going to be Floyd Mayweather Jr. And that's okay. Whoever it is you are on this earth, be that. Be him at the best level. But too many men are not honest with themselves. They are not honest on being able to say, you know what? I envy this dude. I respect this man for his artistry. I respect this man for his discipline. I respect this man for his talent. And dang, I wish I was that good. But I'm not. That's okay. There are so many men that are living in a delusional state of mind to think that they are these super figures of success, these pillars of success. And there's nothing wrong with aspiring to be great. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that men need to stop putting themselves in a situation of responsibility, i.e. marriage, and you're not ready for it. If you know that you cannot pay your bills on time, balance the checkbook, stay hydrated, stay motivated, stay encouraged, and all of these things, you are fooling yourself to think that you can handle something as serious as marriage, because it's not a game. And there's more men that is being broken down spiritually, mentally, and emotionally by going through marriage and it ended in a divorce. Is divorce something that I believe is preventable? Absolutely. I think divorce is something that people assume just happens. It don't just happen. What happens is that you got a person or one person or parties involving themselves in something as serious as marriage and not understanding what it really is. Marriage for a man is asking to be responsible. When you ask that woman to be your wife, you are asking her to trust you at the highest level. That's a lot to ask for. To have somebody put their life in your hands, and you carry it, that's a lot to ask for. Are you really ready for that, gentlemen? Are you really ready to be that guy? Because, see, we don't get no days off. That's one thing they don't tell you about us men, and you talking about something like marriage. You don't get no days off. You don't get to kick your feet up on the beach and sit Mai Tai. I don't know where people got that idea that that's life, but whatever. That's not what it is. You are going to be required, you are also going to be expected to always be at your best, even when you're not. Now, for those men who are considering something as serious as this, hear me, because I'm speaking from a place of care. I'm speaking from a place of really trying to help shape a different perspective and bring a different outlook to things. Understand what you're asking for. Understand what you're capable of. Understand what you truly bring to the table. Understand that unless you are, without a shadow of a doubt, time-tested, battle-tested, and proven, you don't want to complicate your life with something like marriage. So that is what I wanted to talk about this morning, because it is 2 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, it's like, let me just go live. Go ahead and put my thoughts out there. There's so many things that can be done, gentlemen, to develop yourself to be the best that you can be. You know, stop operating out of desperation. Some cats even do something like marriage because they scared that this girl gonna go somewhere and somebody else gonna get her, and that should be the least reason why you decide to occupy a space like matrimony for a lifetime. Going into 2024, it's gonna get real. We're gonna keep coming with this content. Thank you guys for who tuned in. Go ahead and hit the like button. I so appreciate it. This is Daniel Rucker with Truth Table signing out. Till next time, guys, be easy.